before we continue to consolidated e-invoicing, I show you two samples, one to create the credit note and then one is USD currency. As if for the USD currency I already showed just now, which is for foreign buyer. Okay. So here is I using the USD currency lah for this buyer. Okay. And then make sure the currency code is correct and then you can submit. Okay. So this one is for foreign buyer. Okay. So here you can put your foreign buyer punya name lah. Okay. And then for issue credit note, okay, let's say this invoice, I want to transfer to credit note lah. Okay. I just direct create the credit note here. Should be you need to transfer from the invoice lah. Okay. So here, let's say just now the invoice is this one for standard invoice 30. Okay, so I go to credit note. I choose this chapter, standard invoice. Okay, item code. Motorola. Okay, accessory Motorola. Okay, and then I give discount 10 ringgit. Okay, and then I click proof. Okay, and then here I want to put the invoice number lah. If you transfer from invoice, should be it have the information here. Okay, so at the credit note here, pending, refresh, valid. So this is how you want to submit credit note or debit note to your customer lah. Okay, so make sure all the information is included lah. Must have the TIN and then must have the classification code for the valid. Okay, and then we can proceed to the consolidated e-invoicing. Okay, so basically for scenario 1 is for buyer do not require e-invoice for B2C business. B2C is business to consumer. Okay, so transaction with buyer upon implementation of e-invoice, seller are required to provide e-invoice for all transactions. So however, certain buyer do not require e-invoice. So as a business company, I still need to submit the e-invoice. Okay, my encounter when interacting with buyers with the goal of enhancing seller's comprehension of specific e-invoice procedure. Okay, so even though the buyer do not require e-invoice, you still need to submit. So you submit is as consolidated. Okay, so individual buyer does not need e-invoice. So you can create a debtor account. So this example is consolidated e-invoice customer. And then if you untick and then you leave the TIN blank, you cannot, you are not allowed to add the TIN number at the. But if you tick this button, even though let's say this one is for cash customer and require e-invoice, you can use the TIN here. Okay, so never mind. I will show you the sample. If for consolidated, to share the receipt or cash sale to your customer, you can use the existing format that you use. Okay, no required the QR code. Okay, because you already submit as consolidated e-invoice, no need to share with customer. Okay, so basically after maintenance. Okay, so here we have two types. I create two types of cash customer lah. Okay, which is cash customer. This one, I tick cash sale debtor. Okay, what is the function of this one? Okay, later I show you. So this one, I tick the cash sale debtor and then I emptied the tax entity. You cannot fill in the tax entity here. Okay, then another cash customer is I untick the cash sale debtor, but I didn't put the TIN. Okay, so when I create the cash sale, okay, so let's say I choose cash customer STG. Just now I tick the cash sale debtor and choose this one. So here it has a field that you can fill in the TIN. Okay, let's say you want to fill in for this customer. He buy iPhone. Okay, and then I put cash. 100. Okay. Okay, let's say later on the customer want the e-invoice to claim tax, okay, because he buy gadget, right? So you can edit, and then here you can fill in the tax entity. Okay, make sure you fill in the customer tax entity. Kalau tak ada dalam list, you can click add new. Okay, if you add new, make sure you fill in the information lah. Okay, so if your customer is a business, you choose business. So if it's personal, you choose individual. Okay, so let's say this one already have the information. So I choose this customer tax entity, and then I click OK. Now it updated the tax entity, and then I save again. Okay, and then after save, it will have pending status, and then submitted, and then valid. Okay, so this is how you want to trade for your walk-in customer that require e-invoice. Okay, so you can use for cash customer and tick the cash sale debtor. What if I didn't tick the cash sale debtor? I choose this cash customer. Okay, so this will submit as consolidated lah. Okay, if customer want to request for e-invoice, I cannot fill in the TIN. Okay, so if you want to have that function, you need to tick the cash sale debtor lah. Okay, scenario 2, buyer do not require e-invoice for B2B business. Okay, maybe some invoice that buyer does not provide TIN number, so it will consider as normal invoice lah. Okay, so that this document, even though it is a normal invoice, you still need to consolidate at the end of the month. Okay, so if your debtor do not provide you the TIN, so you can submit it as consolidated. So let's say for my invoice, let's say I have few invoice that customer didn't provide the TIN, I still can save as usual. Okay, so I put, let's say this is my customer, I don't have the TIN here. Then you choose the item code. Then I click approve. Okay, so after I click approve, it will list it for the consolidated lah. Okay, it will not submit as standard. Okay. Okay, so next is for buyer on the spot request e-invoice for B2C business. So this one is the sample for post system. Okay, so if got a situation like Tina want buy a smartphone from Kedai Electronics Gadget, okay, and then you as the seller, you need to ask for name, address, contact number, TIN or my card, and then fill in the post system, and then you can submit to the my invoice portal. Okay, so what the required information is TIN or my card, either one. Okay, let's say your customer only provide you the TIN, no my card, so you can fill in the TIN number, and then the my card you put 12-digit 0. Okay, but if your customer only provide my card, no TIN, and then you need to use the general TIN, which is EI9010. Okay, and then same goes to non-Malaysians. Either one, you cannot give, both are dummy one. Okay, if your customer didn't provide TIN or my card, both don't provide, you cannot submit standard invoice. Okay, so here is sample one, which is only provide the IC. So you can see it provide the IC, but the buyer TIN don't have. So the buyer TIN, you put EI9010. Okay. Okay, so here, if you want to update in the system, category you choose individual. Okay, TIN you leave it blank. Okay, if TIN not provided, so system will auto fill in for EI9010. And in my card, make sure no spacing is allowed. Okay, same goes to phone number, address, same. Okay, and then here is another sample for customer which only provide the TIN but no IC. So the IC you put 12-digit 0. Okay, and then here you choose select individual, fill in the TIN, no spacing is allowed between the character and the number, no spacing. And then the my card here, you need to put 12-digit 0. Okay, okay. So here is the sample. This one is for foreign buyer. Okay, they only provide the passport only, no buyer TIN. So you use the TIN EI9020. This one is for foreign buyer. Okay. So sama juga. In the TIN here, you leave it empty. And then identity type, you put passport. Okay. No allowed spacing. Okay. And then non-Malaysian individual for what? TIN. Okay. This is the same sample lah. Got TIN but no IC. So IC you put 12-digit 0. Okay. Now, next is the buyers can request for e-invoice at point of sale. Okay, after get the information, the seller can submit the invoice through the post system. So in our AutoCount, so let's say this one is the post system for cash payment, and then at the front end there, you can fill in the customer information. Okay, once customer want make payment, you fill in the customer information, name. The yellow one is the required field. Okay, name, email, IC, phone, address. Okay, and then you click OK, and then it will auto submit to the My Invoice portal. Okay. Buyer on the spot request e-invoice for B2C business, use AutoCount accounting. Okay, so this one is like I showed just now lah. Okay, so make sure you click the cash sale debtor. Okay, so that when you issue the cash sale, you can choose the tax entity for that debtor that request for e-invoice lah. Okay, so once the cash sale is already validated, already submit as standard e-invoice, so it will have validated link lah. Okay, like this. This one already sent as valid, right? So you can share this with your customer. Cash sale Malaysia e-invoice. Next is for buyer post transaction request e-invoice for B2C business. Use AutoCount point of sale. Okay, so let's say the buyer requests the e-invoice after the point of sale, but before the month end of the purchase. Okay, let's say Tina, she buy the smartphone on 25th May. Okay, and then dia tak require e-invoice lah. And then at the 28th May, she want the e-invoice. So she can return to the Kedai Electronic Smart Gadget and then request for e-invoice lah. And then the seller must submit the standard invoice for Ina. Okay. So if in our post system, you can find transaction, which is find the old bill. Okay. And then you can select the receipt and then you select the submit e-invoice button. Okay. And then when to submit the invoice button, it will require you to fill in the customer detail. Okay. Once fill in the customer detail, submit, and then customer will notify in their email got the receipt or cash sale with the QR code. So another one is at the post system, you also can print a receipt with a QR code for customer can scan to request e-invoice. So after customer scan by their phone, so it will open the tax information request lah. So they will fill their information and then submit, verify email, and then it will notify in your email lah for the e-invoice already submitted. Okay. So customer will fill in their information, like the link that we opened just now. Okay. And then they will notify the validated invoice to the customer's email. They will got the cash sale receipt lah. Okay. So scenario 4B, buyer post transaction request e-invoice for B2C business. Use AutoCount accounting. Okay. So make sure the request e-invoice for cash sale or invoice before 72 hours for the same month. Okay. So let's say this customer, this is the cash sale just now, have the validated link lah. Okay. Let's say this customer and one cash customer. Let's say I use this adapter, cash customer STG. Okay, and then he buy iPhone. And then the date is 11. Okay, 11 is on Sunday lah. Okay, and then she pay by cash. Okay. And then this customer, let's say today, she requests for e-invoice. Okay, so you can choose the tax entity, then change to okay, cash. Okay. Valid. Okay, so this one, issue date time value, the document is too old, so cannot be submitted lah. So you can see that this one, the document number is 7 January. So I want to add the T for submit for standard invoice is not allowed lah. Okay, because it is more than 72 hours. Okay. But if they require after 72 hours for the same month purchase, okay, you can issue credit note, or update e-invoice submission date. Okay, so this one is same. New chapter. Fresh customer. Input. Okay, then the date is 9 January. Okay, then I put cash. So, and then let's say the customer is required standard invoice. So I need to edit. Choose the theme. Okay. And then I need to set the e-invoice issue date time. Okay. And then today's date. Okay. Then save. Okay. Now it's already valid lah. Okay. So if you have cash sales that more than 72 hours, you can use the issue date time function. Okay. This one. Okay. And then submit consolidated e-invoice before the 7th calendar days of the following month. Okay. So if all the customer buy the smartphone on 11 September, okay, and then they did not request for invoice, so Bobby issue normal receipt lah. And then next month, before the 7 October of the calendar days, include the cuti juga. So he needs to submit the consolidated e-invoice. Okay. So same goes to also the sellers with multiple branch. Okay. If kedai electronics smart gadget have 2 branch, which is at Ipoh and Selangor. Okay, so each branch must have one consolidated. So one from Selangor and one from Ipoh. Okay, and then means have 2 consolidated e-invoice. Okay, so in our AutoCount consolidated e-invoice concept, you can categorize it by document type, by location, and by currency code. Okay. So here we have the new consolidated e-invoice function, which is go to e-invoice and then consolidated e-invoice. Okay. And then here you click new. It will ask you to set the date lah. Normally we set 1st of the month and then until the end of the month, 1 month lah. Okay. And then you can choose the document type. Either it's invoice, cash sale, credit note, debit note, or post. Okay. You can select by period and document type. Okay. And then process transaction by period that is not submitted. Okay, means this transaction is not submitted as standard invoice, so system will collect it as consolidated. Okay, so this one I show you first, the consolidated. So you go to invoice, how to submit, go to consolidated e-invoice. Okay, and then you click new. Okay, this one I prepare a few samples. Okay, let's say this one should be it will consolidate by 1 month lah. But this one I want to show you the sample. So I put there are transactions within that range. Is still pending, submitted, failed, or invalid status. Please ensure the invoice status are up to date. So otherwise, click yes button to proceed and creating consolidated invoice. So I click yes. Okay. So here I have few currency. Okay, and document type. Okay. So system will auto categorize the document by document and then by type. So let's say this one is for invoice. You can click inside. So this one are all invoice that not sent as standard lah. So they will send as consolidated. Okay. So you can see 59 to 61 and then 62 until 66, maybe I sent as standard or I already cancelled. So it will not include in the consolidated e-invoice. And it continue with EI 0067. Okay. And then it will also categorize it by currency. So this one is different currency. So it is in one document. Okay. So to check, you can save. So it will create you 3 consolidated e-invoice. Okay. So this one is for the currency with USD. This one is currency for MYR. Okay. So another one, if let's say you want to console for different location. Okay. So let's say I have 2 branch. So once I generate, So it will group your sales based on your branch lah. So this one is from HQ. This one is from Ipoh. This one is from Manju. Okay, and then you can save. So it will create another 3 e-invoice. Okay, so now you can see all the consolidated invoice is already valid. Okay. Okay, if your customer requests the invoice after the month she purchased, so you can tell your customer, sorry, we cannot provide you e-invoice because it's already past your month of purchase.